Hey guys, welcome back to the Virgo Girl channel. Today we are going to talk about Dahmer on Netflix. Now, first off, I want to start off by saying I didn't even have Netflix when this series came out. I actually saw on social media everyone talking about it, and I literally subscribed to Netflix solely to watch this show. So that's how much hype it's been getting on the internet. I mean, people are just talking about this all over. And I wanted to know, like, what is all this about? Is it really this good? I just wanted to really check it out. And I was not disappointed. The acting on this series is probably some of the best acting I've seen in a series. They really did an amazing job. And I want to give a special shout out to Evan Peters. If he doesn't win an award, I don't know what to say. I don't know what I don't know what to say. He has to win an award for this performance. It was superb. He did just an amazing job. First of all, the accent alone should get him an award. Whatever award category that he falls into, he needs to win it. That accent was spot on. I actually lived in the Midwest, in Minnesota for a while, and man, when I tell you that Midwestern accent that he had, man, it was like he was literally from there. And I don't know where he's from originally, but he hit it. He hit the head on the nail. So kudos to him. Evan Peters, great job as Dahmer. Oh my gosh, the role is so dark though. I mean, I can only imagine what it took for him to get into character, and hopefully, whatever it takes to get out of character, that he was able to do that, because that is a very dark role. It is demented. I mean, it was just really tough to watch. Being that that this actually happened, like it was a true story. So for trigger alert, for those of you who are going to watch it, it is very dark, and they actually go there. It's just sick. It's something that it doesn't sit right with you because of the fact that of what he was doing to the people who his victims. But at any rate, great series. I do highly recommend it. The acting is superb. Jeffrey Dahmer, for those of you who don't know, he was a serial killer, and he killed many men. Most of them were gay men, and yeah, it was just gay men of color. Most of them were gay men of color, and I think the majority of them were black. So yeah, there was a lot of controversy as well with this situation because of the fact that Jeffrey Dahmer was an example of the police basically ignoring all the signs. All the signs were there. They had a lot of opportunities to get this man off the street, but they ignored it. They totally ignored it. And basically because he was able to convince them that he was innocent, just basically his aesthetic helped him a lot too. He was a young man, blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was able to play this role of, oh no, just calm, and oh yeah, it's no big deal. It's just this, and no, that's not what happened. And he was able to lie in a way that they actually believed him, with the things that he was saying. He was, in the movie, they made it seem like he was just calm, cool, and collected. So in a way that he just didn't waver, like he didn't get shaken up by anything. He just kind of smoothly said, oh no, that's not the case. Even when, because of the fact that he had like bodies in there, and it smelled in his apartment, and it smelled really bad. He even was telling the neighbors that it was like, oh, it was some bad meat, or oh, it was this or that. I mean, flesh, rotting. has a distinct smell, and people were having to live with these horrible, horrible smells. And then he also had all kinds of chemicals that he was trying to use to dissolve the bodies. And it was just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And he had all this going on, and seemingly nobody cared when it came to the police. I liked the way they shined the light on how the police had come to his place, and they just kind of showed you how this guy was able to lie, and the police like let so many things slide with this story. I mean, with this situation. And it was so sad because people actually were continuously losing their lives after the police had come to his home and saw, after there had been complaints about him. Sorry, to the police, several complaints. People continued to die because nothing was done about this man's behavior. At any rate, it is a lot to swallow. It's tough. A lot of people are up in arms about the series, which is kind of like odd because there's been a lot of movies about Dahmer. I personally haven't watched the other ones. It just didn't pique my interest the way this Netflix one did. I feel like this Netflix one has just really, really captured everyone's attention. And I'm not sure what it is about this particular series on Dahmer. I don't know if it's just that it was just that good or what, but people are really, really, really watching this one. And for me, it was just, wow. I just can't even believe that a human can be like this, could be like that. It was just a lot. One thing I did notice in the film, they touched on the parents. Now, with the parents, it was very strange. They said that the mom, when she was pregnant, she was taking like all these medications, and the dad, for him, he kind of felt like the mom, taking those medications and things like that had something to do with how he turned out the way he was. Another part of it was the father would actually go with the son to pick up roadkill, and they would actually dissect it, like cut it up and things like that. And I found that to be very disturbing. Now, I am a vegetarian, so for me, just period, that's a lot to take on. But the fact that they would just pick, like as a young boy, the fact that his dad had him doing this, that too was just kind of bizarre to me. Now, I have lived in the Midwest. I didn't know anyone who was like really into hunting or anything like that when I lived there, but I just didn't get that part. I'll just leave it at that. I didn't get why his dad was having him to pick up roadkill off the street and go back to his garage and cut it up. Like, I didn't get that part at all. But that was like what he was doing when he was younger. Certainly that didn't help the situation. So there was that. And then it was also that he was just kind of, also he was gay and things like that. So I'm not sure. It was just a lot of things. He was kind of a loner, just kind of different, like from just a little quirky and things like that. And this is not to say in any way to justify anything that he did, because that is not, there's no excuse for anything that he did, but I'm just kind of giving you a background on some of the things that occurred before he started doing all these things. He had a very peculiar upbringing too. His mom was very they portrayed her to be very unstable, like mentally, and there was a lot going on with the mom where she was up and down with medications, and so there was some kind of mental history with the mom as well. So that, genetics. So they're saying like the dad kind of thought, it kind of showed like the dad was kind of like placing some blame on the mom due to just how she was, and then also the medications that she was taking. He felt like a lot of the medications that she was taking during the pregnancy she shouldn't have taken. I'm trying to think. One of the medications, it was like, I don't know if it was morphine. It was some kind of other medication that he was saying that she was taking, that it was not like she was taking something that wasn't necessarily for the mental, but she was taking also other medications, like, that had nothing to do with her mental state. It was just taking like, I don't know what the name of them are, but At any rate, it was things that he didn't feel like she should be taking, make a long story short. And then just, I felt like I didn't see where he had like a lot of friends, or, you know, like when you're young, I think it is very healthy for young people to have a nice healthy group of people their own age that they can kind of interact with and grow together and kind of bounce things off of each other and experience going through puberty, pre-puberty, you know, just going through life. It's good to have someone your own age to kind of experience that with, because it can be tough being a teenager and just being young and dealing with different things. So I didn't see where he really had, they didn't really show him having like a bunch of friends that he was interacting with either. It was just kind of like, everything was just dark in this series. I mean, it just showed a very dark upbringing. It showed, they had a point where he was like living with his grandmother who was very like religious, but I just felt like everybody was turning a blind eye. Even the grandmother, like everyone turned a blind eye on this guy's behavior. It was just, gosh, it was like the perfect storm. It was like, how in the heck is nobody intervening here? You know, there's a lot of weird, crazy stuff going on. Like red flag. There were so many red flags that should have been addressed way before he even started, you know, like killing these people. So yeah, it was, oh gosh, it's a lot, you guys. It's deep and it's dark, very dark. And again, I feel like it's so funny because people are acting like this just happened in 2020 or something, like last year. This is so old. This story is so old, and it's just amazing to me how many people are coming out talking about things with this story as if it just happened. It's like, well, did you not see all the other documentaries and movies that were made on this guy? It's like, I've never seen so many people up in arms. But again, I think since 2020, people have been more sensitive and speaking out more on things. So I could attribute it to that. I'm not sure, or maybe this particular series is reaching more people because it's very, very popular. So that could have something to do with it too. But either way, my point here today is to recommend this to you guys. I do recommend it. It's not for the faint at heart, or the faint of heart. Is that what that saying is? It's not for you if you're very triggered, if you're very sensitive to like gory things, you know, like people cutting up bodies, you know, things like that, like, you know, just gore. If gore bothers you, then it may not be the best series for you because it's a lot to take in. But if you're okay with that, it is an interesting, very interesting series. And I think they did a good job of covering everything that they kind of needed to cover. Of course, they couldn't cover everything, but I think they did a good job of covering it well enough to where you have a good idea of what happened and the things that kind of took place. And yeah, it was very well executed. I think they did a good job shining the light on the things that should have been highlighted. I thought, for me, another part that was really triggering is that there's a lady on there, his next door neighbor. It was, you know, like his next door neighbor, and she, oh gosh, Glenda was her name. And it was just sad to me how this woman, nobody listened to her. Like, it just made me so infuriated that this lady, like, people treated her like she was invisible. And I hated that. It's like, how frustrating is it to be sitting here she was telling the police, calling them, because she kept saying this guy is up to no good. You know, this guy is up to no good. She even told her landlord, and it even took him a while to do something. You know, it's like no one took her seriously, and it was so sad to see. It was just frustrating because I'm like, had you guys just listened to this lady, then a lot of things could have been prevented. Even, you know, that's another thing. It's like no one listened. They only listened to him and then just went ahead and just took his word for everything. They never took into consideration the other events that were happening outside of what this guy was doing. What this guy was saying. He was saying one thing to them, but there were other events that were shown and told to them that were happening that they didn't even care about. It's just like, well, he said no, so it's no. That's it. No matter how many times the police got complaints about him, there was like nothing really done. I mean, nothing done, you know, to get this man off the street. I mean, and he was doing horrible, horrible things to people. So it was just really frustrating for me to watch too, because it's like, had something been done at least one of the times that they were called about this man, so many lives would have been spared. And that's the sad part about it. You know, like a lot of the people, they could have still been here today had they done something sooner. And then so it shows you, it does show you how he ends up getting caught, and it shows all of that, but it just took way too long. It's just ridiculous. It was just really, really, really ridiculous and sad that this guy was able to get away with this for that long. And hopefully that was a clue, or like some kind of eye-opening experience for that area, where they would pay more attention to things like that, you know, in the future. I don't know. I don't live in that area. I don't know much about that area. I think he was in Wisconsin. But yeah, he was in, I believe it was Milwaukee, Wisconsin was where all this took place. But yeah, that was just crazy to me, like how the things played out. But anyway, it's a great series to watch, and just kind of like see like the horrible, horrible things that occurred. I would definitely check it out. Highly recommend it. It's called Dahmer. I believe it's the Monster Dahmer. It's Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story is the correct name for it, and it's on Netflix. Until next time, you guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Peace.